Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Ooh, happy Saturday with a loud voice. I have no compressor this morning. I moved everything around, so I'm probably going to be a little poppy on the microphone, and I apologize for that. It's a Saturday. It's really damn cold here in my part of Oregon. Don't know what it's like for you guys in your area. The cover, before we bring on, we got Laura and Amos with us this morning. Hi, everybody. And wow, a lot of people joining right away. Good to see you. Good audience. The cover, Jeff Pearson. Want to thank him for that. And what does it have to do with anything? I don't know. Probably nothing. It's why not for Thanksgiving? It's
current mood.
What?
Current mood.
Yeah, you know. So that's Spider-Man. I'm not even. You guys know what it is. I'm just gonna let you look at that. Anyway, Jeff wasn't sure of where he got that, and he said, quote, he's been poked and prodded a lot about where that comes from. And and it looks like there was actually a credit at the bottom is Imgur Uza Buza. And I found that. So I made sure to give proper credit for this. Yeah. But
Well done.
yeah, why not? Anyway, sounds fine, John. I think it's warm. Oh, I appreciate that, Julie Love. Just watch your ears there. Try not to get too loud or too angry. Anyway, we do have with us this morning the lovely Laura Live and Good and Amos Elroy with us. And look, I have everybody in weird positions today. How's that? Amos is in the middle. Hey, everybody. How are you doing?
There you go. Good morning. It is absolutely a gorgeous day here in California after our first couple of days of rain since April. So that was really a welcome thing. As you know, the air quality here last weekend was atrocious. And at least before that, because of all the horrible fires. And those fires are now almost contained, and the air went back to nice with the rain. So we're grateful.
Yeah. Agreed. Amos, what's it like over your neck of the woods right now?
No, it's still snow on the ground, but we're getting our fair share of cold weather.
Awesome. There it is. Weather for UHM. How about you guys doing? And climate change is definitely something we got to bring up because, you know, there was a new report by the government. The same government that denies climate currently also put out a report talking about how bad climate change is. So we're gonna talk about that, as well as healthcare, because there was a new document somebody posted on the net. It's pretty frightening regarding healthcare. But wow, good morning everybody. Brom and Charles and Barbara, and Kittens, Jilly Love, Jingy, Density, Ima, Travers, SNL. How are you doing? At home, everybody. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Good to have you here. I have an exciting story to talk about, honestly. It's inside the DPO, because I said we were going to target the DPO and the Democratic Party of Oregon and the State Central Committee of Oregon in terms of providing information, informing that small group. That's our target audience, along with you, of course, right? And so we're going to talk about that. Laura Livengood's going to talk about Peter Douche, right? And Amos Elroy is going to talk about fighting the law and the fact that the law is actually winning against Donald Trump, right, Amos? In some places, maybe. Yeah.
In a way, but not entirely. That's the cover. Yeah.
See, I have more faith in certain aspects of law enforcement to fight corruption than I do in the Democratic Party. Just gotta say that. But then I don't trust any of those aspects of law enforcement. So that'll be an interesting discussion. And, it's been very confusing, don't you think? Hey, Environmental Coffee House, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, so let's get into this. Over the last couple of days, a holiday, call it the holiday, the Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you guys were thanking the fact that you're alive and not thanking the genocide that was committed by. Anyway, you know what I mean. Not celebrating that, right? It's hard as someone who grew up like most Americans did with the preconceived understanding of what Thanksgiving was, you know, that they taught us in grade school. And really, for me, it's been quite a transformation to understand what really went down, how horrible it was. But then to try to say, well, I'm not going to take away the cultural tradition of getting together with people that I love and cooking a bunch of food and feeling really sick afterwards and laying around, right? That's still part of American culture, but I can certainly take out of it the horribleness and make it represent something else. And I hope that most Americans are doing that. I think that's what we are. But I also had some really interesting Facebook discussions with members of the Democratic Party of Oregon and about Standing Rule 13, which is being proposed at the December 2nd quarterly meeting, the State Central Committee meeting. This is really important. This is about our tactics and strategy moving forward and why I've kind of changed our focus. I'm going to share with you an incredible story, but the overall arching topic here is no more Mr. Nice. This is about survival. And that's kind of a message to the DPO. It's a message to fellow Democrats. It's a message to the populace. And it's certainly a message to our representatives who love to talk big game about how much they love the environment and how much they're going to protect it and how much they've always been for environment and how we've not really seen shit from them on that. They haven't delivered on their statements, really on just about everything, right? It's just that there's been so many statements and so much time that we've kind of forgotten all of that. So it's really time for us to stop compromising or thinking that we're going to work out a great deal with these folks. They've made very clear their intentions. All right, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The government released a report that climate change is indeed happening and it's bad and it's affecting the U.S. bad and it's going to get worse. None of this is new news to those of us who, you know, understand that climate change is real and that we're in the middle of the climate crisis and it's fucking shit up big time. California is a beautiful example, right? But the United States, it's interesting, this climate report, the lower 48 states, their global warming has 1.2 to 1.8 degrees Celsius. Just the lower 48. They've had some serious effects there. So those of you in those areas that want to continue to deny climate, what you're really doing is carrying out natural selection. And that's fine by me. All right. That's fine by me. The other topic about no more nice is that this is floating around. This is from Spectrum Health to somebody about their request to have heart surgery or heart transplant. Okay. And it says the decision by the committee is that you are not a candidate at this time for a heart transplant due to needing more secure financial plan. The committee is recommending a fundraising effort of $10,000.
I saw that this morning. That is horrific.
A fundraising effort. That would be why we pay our goddamn taxes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's the state of things.
Did you see the name of the heart?
I did. It's the Richard DeVos, Betsy DeVos's, I don't know, grandfather relative. Yeah. Heart and lung transplant clinic.
Yeah.
For the 1% or those that can afford it.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's pretty horrible. Which brings me to this. This is, like I told you, we've been working on a plan, working on what are we attacking? What are we doing here? What's the target? And this I'm just going to share this list. I know it's really tiny because there's a lot of things on it, but this is like my plan. Okay, I'm going to contact the progressives in the state Dem party. That's already been done. But I'm working on this plan with Amos. He's going to do this in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So if there's people in New Jersey and Pennsylvania that want to work with us, please do. Need to find the progressives in the state party. That means the ones active in their Democratic Party of their state. And yes, I want to work with the Democratic Party because it's pliable. It's more pliable than the Republican Party. Okay. And it's got the resources we need, unlike the Green Party or the Independent Party or any other fucking party. So I'm working with people that are interested in transforming their Democratic parties. And we're going to do that through their state central committee and their delegates. All right. So we're going to contact the progressives in the Dem Party. We get the lay of the land. What does the party look like? How fucked up is it? How corrupt is it? Who are the corrupt people? Who are the non-corrupt people? Do we have anybody that sits in the top that's actually good? Or are they all shit? All right. We got to identify the targets. Get a list of the party chairs and the SEC delegates in your state. The party chairs, I'm not talking about the top. I'm talking about your county chairs. Find the county chairs, find out who they are, and find out where they stand. Just get a general idea, right? These are the targets we can actually affect change with. It's a small enough group of people, and we will find progressives within these groups, all right? And that's what we're looking for. Progressive chairs, or at least chairs that aren't assholes. And then we're looking for the delegates. Every county party elects state delegates. Why are these delegates important? The state central committee delegates are the ones that elect the state party chair, vice chairs, the admin, the people that actually end up controlling the resources in a dysfunctional party. All right. And this is something that we're working on in the Democratic Party of Oregon. And December 2nd is a big D-Day in relation to taking power back to the assembly, which is where it fucking belongs in these parties. Now, every party has bylaws that are written differently, and you may end up facing some bylaws that have been written in there that really suck, but Oregon's got some decent bylaws. They're just not being adhered to by the administration of the party. That's a problem. So we need to find 2 delegates in your state central committee to work with, because we need somebody to be able to make a motion and somebody to second that motion. All right. And that's what we're looking at here. 2 people. So that we can start disrupting shit. Research party bylaws, the history, the current admin, and we can begin reporting on what's going on. You could start that reporting with, we're just going to take apart the New Jersey Democratic Party bylaws and see just how effed they are. And then we're going to analyze the assembly and see what power it's handed off into where. All right. This is, if we shine a spotlight on the party, the actual internals of the party, the delegates that make the choices, and the admin that usually ends up controlling shit, and this is why our parties suck, all right? And we can affect the most change fast. So create a Dem report card for the State House and State Senate once we have this information. I've already been working on that with Map the Money. I've done some report cards on some people. It's really pissed off the establishment in Oregon, and we intend to do a lot more of that. I'm going to do some of that today, okay? Understand that there's no more nice. Anybody in your Democratic Party that is protecting a corporate Democrat, a Democrat that's not interested in actually pushing bold climate reforms, bold healthcare reforms, bold fucking reforms. They all talk, but you got to look at their voter records, all right? Currently, in the Democratic Party of Oregon, we have an administration that is more interested in protecting those in power than facilitating the assembly, which is their fucking job. And yes, I called you out, Democratic Party of Oregon admin. You are not doing your job the way it was supposed to be. And now we're going to get into the story of you offering concessions, which I think is ridiculous. All right, moving on. Find members of the Rules Committee. Rules and Platform Committee are essential. Okay. Our Rules Committee is the reason we're able to affect change so much. So you got to find members of the Rules Committee that are interested in actually upholding the rules. And if you don't have anybody in your party that is a member of the Rules Committee that's decent, you need to train one and get them in there. Rules Committee are parliamentarians. They're the Jedis of fucking democracy. If you don't have somebody that understands parliamentary procedure and how to work that in a meeting, you're screwed. All right. What I'm outlining here, right here, when we talk about going to war, we talk about building up a team, a special ops team to actually go in and check. This is it. These are the people we need. These are the contacts we need. All right? We're not going to affect change with Donald Trump at the national level. We're not going to affect change with Nancy Pelosi in any fucking sense of the term. But we can definitely affect change within county parties of California and eventually within the state party of California. But California's a much bigger mess compared to Oregon. Oregon, small. We can kick Oregon's ass. It's close to being a true progressive democracy, but we have to work this. All right? Begin work on changing the platform, understanding and enforcing the bylaws. Standing Rule 13, which is being introduced December 1st and 2nd, that's what this is all about for the Assembly. Okay? Create media targeting bad Dems and broken processes in the party. We've already been doing that. Larry's been doing that for more than a year with the Progressive Oregon Show, and it's had an impact. All right? Push the platform Democrat narrative. This is my new term. And rinse and repeat this as often as possible. Platform Democrat. In Oregon, our platform is very strong. And it's very specific about many things, including fossil fuel money, Jordan Cove, the climate, healthcare. But our Dems don't seem to give a fuck about the platform. I'm generalizing. We've got a lot of Dems that do. They probably don't know what's on it. But the Dems in power don't seem to care about the platform because they take money violating the rules of our platform. Because they cast votes that violate the rules of our platform. They're not interested in abiding by the platform. It's non-binding. I get that. It's non-binding. But I mean, really, if you're an employer, which we are, the party employs these people, and you say, here's our mission statement, and here's what we're all about. And the person we hired says, that's cool, I don't give a fuck. Or, I'm all right with some of that, but I really like fracked gas, so fuck you, and can I have your resources and your votes? That's basically what every Dem that takes fossil fuel money in the state of Oregon says. I want to be a Democrat, but I'm not interested in abiding by your party or what it stands for because I don't know why. And for some reason, the party's like, okay, sure, take our money. Right? So I want there to be a narrative of platform Democrat because the administration of this Democratic Party of Oregon is working on their own narrative, and that's what we're going to get to. So real quick, Standing Rule 13, which is about handling unapproved processes within the Democratic Party of Oregon, is about accountability. Okay. The party admin is already trying to make it sound like this rule is about documenting every single tiny thing, which is going to hinder the entire democracy and prevent the admin from accomplishing anything. And that's not true. Okay? It's very clear what this is about, and that's not it. What is this about is the power held within the State Central Committee. In Article 2, the bylaws of the Democratic Party of Oregon say the State Central Committee is the governing body of the party, and it may delegate its authority. Not the admin, not the executive fucking committee, not anybody else but the assembly. It delegates its authority. Now, there's authority that's been delegated, that's for sure, but there's a lot of authority that was never delegated. And that's what we're talking about. Hang on. This is James Barber's explanation of Standing Rule 13. James is on the Rules Committee and helped write this rule. Okay. Standing Rule 13 is intended to address the use of unwritten policies in the DPO. When a policy is unwritten, it could be inconsistently enforced, made up, and or hard to challenge or correct. An example would be if someone had a complaint, and when that complaint is addressed, the complaint is given an answer that is justified by standard procedure. That's how it's always been done. Or opinions, not based on written policy. Clearly written policies empower everyone associated with an organization, meaning Gene Atkins, Valdez Bravo, Brad Martin, as facilitators, which is what you are, of the Democratic Party of Oregon. You should be excited. You should be ecstatic. You should be 100% in line with the idea of accountability and documenting every fucking process. The fact that you are fighting it tells me you're not really working for the people. Sorry, I'm just calling you out, okay? And there's more. Written policies also aid in the stability of an organization throughout leadership changes and loss of institutional experience. All right. I'll add, from a management standpoint, it's difficult to get policies written down because it is time-consuming. There's actually a process for that in Robert's Rules. However, in the long run, it's best for an organization to try to keep policies documented. Don't you think? I mean, it's the 21st century. We're not chieftains. We can fucking document our things and hold. That's civilization. The fact that we're fighting an admin and this is what this discussion is about on Facebook. Is people argue, well, come on now, you're going to stop the admin from doing its job. But wait, there's more. The problem, we've outlined the problem. Here's 2 policy examples where Standing Rule 13 needs to come into play in Oregon. Policies that discourage and penalize challengers to incumbents, right? So we know that in Oregon, the van voter database access is controlled by not the Democratic Party. It's actually a third party. We don't even know who controls this, but we can't get access to anybody but incumbents. The state assembly never authorized that. The state assembly actually controls that resource, or should control that resource, and who gets access to the van voter database. That's the assembly's role, not somebody else, not the admin. That's an undocumented process that some asshole in the admin said, hey, why don't we control this? Or why don't we give that control over there? Right? The other one is PACs. We have 2 PACs in Oregon that are supposed to be for democracy, for helping incumbents run and for helping new people challenge incumbents. It's for the party. It's not for specific people. It's not all for Peter Courtney when he needs to run, or Pete DeFazio when they need to run. All right? That money is never spent, or when it is, it's spent on their initiatives. That PAC money. So when you donate to the Democratic Party of Oregon, you're probably putting it in one of these PACs. That's not controlled by the assembly. That's not even controlled by the admin. That power was given away to some Senate committee, and they gave it away to some 4th party. So we don't have control of our own fucking funds. Now, Standing Rule 13 is going to address that. And the admin of the DPO is well aware that this is coming up on December 2nd, and that we're going to address the van database and the PAC money specifically. This is important because if we had a functional democracy, and if our admin was actually interested in facilitating democracy and not holding on to power, they'd be all about this. Let's have an accountability. Let's get that's back. Well, so hang on. It turns out that Gene Atkins, and this is all part of this long Facebook discussion, Gene and Brad have informed Valdez Bravo and Larry Taylor and other people that they're going to go get that PAC money back. Don't you worry. We're looking out for you. We're going to go get that PAC money back and bring it back to the DPO where it belongs. And van database, we'll work on that one too. Of course, everybody should have access. We'll figure that one out. But as far as accountability, we don't need to go there. This whole Standing Rule 13 is just too much. It's just too much. That is exactly what we're hearing from the admin. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, is take the van, where they're trying to give us those 2 things back, some concessions, so that we don't actually do an accounting, basically an audit of what's going on with our admin. Okay? Now, that was bad enough. And I was ready to fucking, I can't wait for December 2nd. But now,
there's more?
In light of new information, yes, there is fucking more. Okay. Yesterday, Larry shows me this. Okay, now, this is a new PAC, recently created. It's not the 2 PACs that the DPO are trying to get back. This is a new PAC. This is a new PAC being advertised on the homepage of the DPO. This PAC was not authorized by the assembly. This PAC was not authorized by any committee. We don't even know who authorized this PAC. But I do know that the DPO is planning on having all of their big fucking donors send money to that PAC, and not the 2 PACs that are coming back to control of the assembly. You see the kind of bullshit that's going down here? No more nice. We're talking about the survival of the human species, and we got motherfuckers mismanaging money, trying to circumvent actual democracy and bypass the power of the assembly. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop you. I'm going to do everything in my fucking power. We're at war with you, Gene, Brad, and Valdez. I don't know where you stand, man. But you're either on the side of the people or you're on the side of corporations. And right now it looks like the admin of the DPO is working hard for those corporations to make sure they can maintain their power with the people at the top that have no interest in our survival. I'm going to make sure that you go down. Because we got nothing to lose but our lives. So, game on, DPO. Game on. I'm going to take a pause
Boom.
We could take a pause because we should probably talk about Trump and take a pause because there's actually a whole nother set of bullshit with Pete DeFazio and Nancy Pelosi, but that's national scale and I need to catch my fucking breath. So.
Yeah.
I know it was long. I tried to go quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that was amazing. And it doesn't surprise me a bit. So this new pack, what's the flavor of it? It looks like they named it after a long time.
It's perfect.
Pear.
It's perfect.
It looks very nice.
How would you not want this pack? And I guarantee you they're going to come in and go, well, we just assumed you'd want this. This is
So what does it say?
It says, give to the Meredith Wood Smith Grassroots Leadership Institute.
Ooh, they got the
Remembering Meredith Wood Smith. She's the old, I guess she died this year, and she used to be, what is she? She used to
chair.
leadership.
It says underneath. I can't quite read because I'm looking at the.
She must have been an old chair.
Yeah, it says it right underneath the.
Yeah, so I can't. It's too small, but I think she's an
our
old chair.
party chair from 2006 to 2012.
Okay. There you go.
I can't see the other one because the superscript keeps going over it, so I couldn't see what was written underneath it.
So there you go.
Well, maybe I could go look at the slides and look at them for myself.
Thank you, Ima. That's all right. We'll just put you on camera. So, what do you guys think about that? Looking at comments. Any third way Dems? Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate that.
I'm trying to figure out what the flavor of it is. If they're saying that this is a new pack, is it like this is the clean one?
The Meredith Wood Smith Grassroots Leadership Institute works to make sure local party leaders have opportunities for training and consultation, including support for accessing state party events and conventions. This is their
password to get the money. Making sure locals have the password to get the money. Got it. I can translate this.
It's disgusting. Because it's just about appeasing, they want to make it sound as progressive as possible. Grassroots, we'll get that word in there,
And insurance, I don't know Meredith. I mean, she might have been a lovely person, so I don't want to disparage her, but her vision and spirit and legacy lives on. I wonder I would like to know what her spirit, vision, and legacy was.
I don't think it matters. I think they just want the money to go there.
Yeah, interesting.
But look, it's green and it has trees on it. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It's very appealing.
Yeah, and no doubt Meredith was a lovely person. So, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm sure she was. Hey, Schulte. Anyway, I don't know how many of you are with the Dem Party of Oregon, or if any of the Dem Party actually watches this show anymore. I know Valdez might watch the Sunday show, which we are having. There'd be a big discussion. Larry and Carrie Capon, who's another parliamentarian, are going to be doing a discussion on asserting your rights in meetings and reorganizations, which is very critical. But just if you're in the Democratic Party of Oregon, you need to make a choice. And there's no more nice. No more nice. Let's jump to Trump, just for fun.
Okay. Why not?
Because Amos put this in, and I was laughing so hard. You guys see his Thanksgiving wishes?
We have to be thankful for something, right?
I suppose. Now, are you here, we'll just play it. Hang on. I know we don't like to talk about Trump, but sometimes he's just hilarious. I found this funny, honestly. Yeah.
For having a great family and for having made a tremendous difference in this country. I've made a tremendous difference in the country.
Mr. President, are you concerned that by not punishing Saudi Arabia more?
No, not at all. I hate the crime. I hate what's done. I hate the cover-up. And I will tell you this, the Crown Prince hates it more than I do. And they have vehemently denied it. The CIA points it both ways.
What?
As I said, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but I will
Both
say
ways.
very strongly
What does that mean?
that it's a very important ally. And if we go by a certain standard, we won't be able to have allies with almost any country.
We pissed them off.
Does any of that make sense?
Not really. That was a politician speaking.
Well, at least we have Trump to be thankful for, as he is obviously.
I mean, I get it. Like, if you're a narcissist, of course you're going to be most thankful for you, right? I mean,
And he has made a tremendous difference in this country.
he has.
I will give him that.
Right.
Don't know.
Like,
Amen.
any press is good press.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure any difference is a good difference.
No. Yeah.
Hi, all 50 of you watching. Yeah, I know the CIA. We talk about that. That's a hard one. Yeah. What do we do there? Almost, you had the song "I Fought the Law" and the Law One loaded for today, and I was going to run it.
Well, that's a hopeful song in regards to Trump. I don't know if that's reflective of reality, but at least we can hope.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I think it's interesting.
So yeah, so basically, I think that there's a lot to be said about Trump's fighting with the law, and I think it's important to recognize the patterns and the emerging strategy behind it. And why is it so important? It's basically we have the three branches of government: the executive, Trump, the legislative, Congress, and the judicial. And each of them is supposed to check the other one. At the moment, up to now, Congress and the White House were in cahoots. There wasn't really any check from those ends. And the Supreme Court is increasingly becoming also just a rubber stamp, but maybe not. What's important is that the judicial system is still the only thing that's standing between Trump and like squashing whatever rights we have or whatever like decency is going on in this country. So if that goes away, that's a problem. The problem with this is that the court, at least the way it has been functioning up to now, is very minimalistic. And that is a part of Trump's approach. He basically, there's three elements to his actions. First of all, he takes a bold move, do first and ask later, as we've seen with the immigration, with the ban, with travel ban or Muslim ban. First he made the move, and then it goes to the courts, and he tests the courts, and usually they will have some technical objections, and they stay within the minimalist idea of like what's not quite right with what he's done. He goes back and he tweaks it, and he keeps tweaking it just to the very border where it's acceptable to the court, and that becomes accepted then. In addition to that, he's now trying to skip other circuit courts. So he's blasted against the Ninth Circuit, U.S. Circuit of Court of Appeals. He's called them Obama judges, and that's another one of his strategies, to just rush it through to the Supreme Court, get as quick a test run through those, and get the law out of the other end. And the two examples we've seen recently was the Acosta, the whole Acosta thing, where he took it to the court. The court basically ruled on it, not even touching the First Amendment, but only the Fifth Amendment. They went back to Trump and said, well, you don't really have a procedure. You haven't really given Acosta or the network a chance to refute or appeal, and so you should do that before you suspend their credentials. So what does Trump do? Exactly that. They already said that at the end of the expiration of the temporary appeal, they will take the pass away, and they're going to just like tweak those little things. They're put into process. They have like now rules that say that you can't ask. So you can't ask follow-up questions.
It's just amazing the amount of censorship, but it's not like we're getting decent answers from any of these questions anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe, but at least there is like the pressure on him to produce answers. And now it's becoming like a ridiculous charade. And the court will allow it because they won't find every single time the exact technicality on which to deny it. So he keeps pushing it. The other thing we've seen is with the transgender ban in the military, is trying to circumvent the courts. The circuit courts is trying to push it straight into the Supreme Court, and now there's a fight over that. And I have no doubt that he's probably going to manage to do that. So it's not really very. I'm not very optimistic. I'm concerned about this. And so far, the judicial branch has not been able to completely rebuke him or refute him. And now he's like fighting it off with Roberts, having Twitter wars with him about his knowledge of what the Supreme Court is or isn't, or what the courts are or not. And I think it's very indicative, the fact that he's saying that they're Obama judges is more indicative about himself and how he approaches the nomination process, and how they are picking up actual loyalists, not even just conservative people to run as judges, but loyalists to him to be in those positions. And in his view, this is absolutely correct. Those people are loyal. They're going to do whatever is needed, what he wants them to do. And he sees that he approaches that in that manner. I think it's very indicative that he said other judges were Obama judges. The truth of the matter is that there's always some political influence on judges, whether they're conservative or not. But here it's beyond that. It's not just picking somebody vaguely conservative or liberal. It's picking out somebody who will push your line.
Well, yeah, I think it's just more overt. I don't think the Democratic Party does any different when they're in power, although they tend to compromise more. But yeah, Trump's much more blatant about it and challenging everything on earth. But he's also created a whole bunch of stuff that's just constitutionally insane. And so we have a lot more to challenge with Don, right? I mean, yeah, I surprised at the number of wins, right? Just overall. Like the climate lawsuit has moved through, which is kind of surprising. You're familiar with that. They've blocked a number of his all the legislation. It seems like all of the legislation that he's tried to push through, which hasn't really been legislation. It's been executive orders. It really hasn't been any legislation. Executive orders, the immigration crap, the things that the courts are able to challenge. They seem to have challenged and defeated, and it all seems to be just distraction. While Congress does other things, right?
Well, with him, it's more the long play of it. And I think that his strategy is to get the court to go as far as he can push them.
Sure.
And this is how they got the travel ban agreed on. And there's like one of the slides is his tweet where he's saying, wow, the Supreme Court has approved of the travel ban, of Trump's travel ban. He talks about himself in as third person.
Well, it says upholds travel ban, actually, because they did uphold the travel ban.
I see. Well, he was celebrating it, the passage of it as well. He basically he has a long term view of this. So he's going to continue. Those are all temporary defeats. And he will go as far as he can. I think he's getting his way more than not.
I think he's just doing what he's been hired to do, which is distract us while Congress rapes the planet and continues to kill us.
Yeah, the number of things that have come up, which have been, oh, I think I'm going to do this. And then the whole country goes nuts. Oh, my God, he's going to do
Caravan.
this.
What happened to Caravan?
He didn't. Well, that one is, he's actually got troops on the border for that. So he actually did something. But just, I'm going to repeal this, or I'm going to take away that. And it was just like, it's like a parent saying, I might just take away that toy. And, oh, well, never mind. And it's like, you're right. I'm a big proponent of the do not pay attention to the puppet while it's all going on behind the scenes and things are actually legislation is getting passed.
Yeah. And it's hard with the Acosta thing and everything going on. It's really hard to like, hey, Jim, are you going to back Julian Assange? You're worried about freedom of the press and censorship. But you guys kind of have a one-sided thing there. It's a little partisan. We have this triangle thing going on there. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. And the courts are nowhere to be found in that, right? They're not addressing any of that.
Oh, God.
Is there a conclusion in this, Amos? Do we have what do you see happening? What's the Twitter pick?
The conclusion is that we can't rely on the courts. Hopefully, we will see some more resistance from inside Congress now that Democrats are going to take the House. But we have to remember that they're also in a political situation, and they're afraid to overreach, or at least to be seen as overreaching. So we have to be mindful that it's not going to be everything that we hope for. It's going to be just, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see where things go. But we have to push from the grassroots. There's no other way.
And we should do it with whoever that dead person was, grassroots PAC. No.
Yeah.
I love what you just said there, because it speaks to the defeatism of centrism. The Democrats don't want to overreach. We're looking at a Nazi administration that's put kids in cages, and we've got a planet that's going to fuck us all in about 10 years, and we're worried about overreach in the Democratic Party. We're worried about compromise.
That's how they're portrayed.
Of course. Of course.
And sometimes that kind of image sticks, and it affects the elections. So,
right.
It's not completely fictional, but I think we still have to stick to our guns.
Well, and that's part of the narrative that mainstream media helps perpetuate there, right? They're not helping us. Right. We'll get into that. Thank you, Amos. Yeah, I have said this in the past. I think the courts are really, at this point, the only group doing anything, but what they're doing is attacking stuff that's symptoms of a greater problem, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm sure we have the time to do those battles. So, what's the Twitter pick? Who's that on the you got this? What is this? Trump, and who's that guy? I don't recognize that guy.
Oh, that's Roberts.
Is that Roberts? Okay. Oh, you're saying they were Twitter war. Okay, that's what that's for. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I wasn't sure where to run that. I realize I rage tweet as much as Trump does at 3 a.m. And I'm just as bad as spelling. Sorry.
No, yours are better.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
No one likes them.
Yeah. They're about real things.
It's just me being pissed off because I can't sleep at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Can I do my book review?
Yeah,
now?
we're gonna yeah, let's hit it. Talk about this, because you picked this up, right? You got this?
Yes. So this is I hope those of you who are on Twitter know who Peter Douche is and follow him on Twitter. It used to be the Twitter account Peter Douche, and then about a year ago he was banned. Yeah. Even though it was a parody account, and it tracks the journeys of a pundit of color who is a Hillary supporter, through the travails of last year. But he's written a book, Peter Douche, called An Inconvenient Douche. And I just got it this week, and I'm about halfway through it. And it is brilliant for a couple reasons. One, I really had got into politics because of Bernie. And when I discovered Bernie 2016 TV in early 2016, that's, that's when I got involved. And this chronicles so beautifully exactly everything that we went through, all of us here together in this room and in chat, everything, and the table of contents is brilliant. Kind of spells it all out. Burned, Chapter 2, everyone blew it but Hillary. Chapter 3, Russia, 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 and Russia. Chapter 4, no, she didn't lose. She's popular vote president. 5, identity politics. Everyone is sexist and racist. Chapter 6, everything you need to know about millennials. Chapter 7, which is basically, according to Peter, they're just causing up trouble. Those millennials. Chapter 7, why you shouldn't read WikiLeaks, and this is the one. It's really poignant. So he gives everything that happened with Julian Assange. Everything that came out in July, 2016. And the things that the chapter I'm on then right after that, only trust MSNBC, and it tells us how we must be, we must, every good Hillary follower must be following Rachel Maddow,
right,
religious,
of course,
things like that. But he names names. It's just, and it's even inscribed It's inscribed "Still Withering," which is his famous hand. And it's brilliant. I'm only halfway through it, but you can get it at aninconvenientdouche.com. And if there's anybody that you would like to educate on kind of really what happened in an amusing way, but that reads really clearly between the lines, I highly recommend it. It's as good as his Twitter stream, if not better.
Awesome.
And the person who wrote this, his name is Pat Coate. He lives in Sacramento, California. He's actually getting a master's degree right now, and he just started this as he started Peter Douche the way that you started this YouTube channel, just his way of being able to just express his opinion about it, and it just took off.
Yeah, he got way more popular.
Yeah, and now he tweets as Peter Douche's liaison, which is the other account
because of censorship on Twitter.
Well, because his other one got banned, so he had to start all over again.
Yeah.
But the whole Free Peter Douche, campaign that sprung up around it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it really, but he talks about everything. He talks about, Brock and the trolls and Hillary and everything. All, of course, in the guise of, wasn't Hillary clever to have all these trolls doing it?
Yeah, his sarcasm is phenomenal.
And it's just, but it's a light touch. He doesn't get too heavy. He keeps in the voice pretty consistent, and I'm enthralled. And I wish I could have finished the whole thing, told you more, but I'll leave some of it for you to figure out.
There you go. And everybody in the audience is talking about, Pat Coate. We know him. And he's great. He's fucking hilarious.
Pat Coate, Pat the Burner. Yes.
They all know. Yeah, anyway, guys.
This would be I think it's $18, and it's a great Christmas present for those that need to be woke.
Give yourself a laugh.
Yeah.
Read the history.
It's interesting that the real Peter Dow, who this is based on, is actually sounding much more woke these days.
I don't trust him, but
I don't trust him. He's calling out shit. He's positioning himself for whatever, whatever's next.
That's exact. There you go. He's working on where's my audience next? Oh, these people. Great.
my paycheck next. Yeah. So
Free Julian agreed. Yeah, nice. So I'm glad you got that, and I did.
And we will have Pat on the show because I've heard him before, and he's really funny, and he actually has been doing little stand-up routines out in Sacramento and San Francisco, and he hangs around with David Hildebrand, those guys. So yeah, he's a good guy, and I think he will come in on a Saturday.
I want to bring him in. I want him to come in character, right? I want to do an interview with him in character. I think that would be fun. Right. So let's try to work that out.
Pat, if you're watching.
Yeah. I know, guys, I said I wasn't going to do that shit anymore. This is different.
Fun. No, this would be fun. He's great. I mean, he's got so many fans here, including me.
Yeah.
So
we need a good laugh.
Yeah, we do.
Can't just rely on 45 for all of our laughs.
Yeah. I'm putting up Christmas lights today because, damn it, I'm just gonna, you've got to find some little bit of joy somewhere, and I'm grateful to have a house that I can hang Christmas lights.
I agree with that. I think that's you got to celebrate something, do something, if you can, whatever it is.
It's been an austere few years. I think I need some lights. I need twinkle lights.
You do. Amos, are you gonna be holidayish? I don't know if you celebrate any of them coming up, but you can do anything.
I'm not a big holiday person.
No.
But,
no. I'm going to bake just because these holidays give me an excuse to bake a lot of stuff. So I'm going to bake a lot of stuff. You guys want to come by, anybody's welcome to come by my place and hang out and smoke a bowl and eat food. It's basically what I have here. So if you're in Oregon, you want to drop by, Jeff, I know you're around. I saw OG Johnson's going to be moving to Coos Bay soon. And get in touch. Said, how do I get in touch? If you're watching OG, that list, find out who in Coos Bay get the county party for Coos Bay, Oregon, and I'll have Larry. I'm gonna build a resource for this, so that we can target SEC, so that we can target our county parties and really work with them. I purchased the domain dpoplatform.org, and I'm gonna put the DPO platform there, along with all the LAIs, and I'm going to make it interactive so that we can share the platform articles individually as a page, and we can share the LAIs individually with our representatives so that we can let them know these are the things you're actually supposed to be doing. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. My goal.
Sounds good.
What, Amos?
Sounds really good.
Yeah. So I'm sure that will make Gene and Brad excited that I purchased that, and I'm going to do that. It's like not an official DPO thing, but that's the great part about it. It doesn't need to be. I can stick the DPO label on it because it's DPO content because I'm part of the DPO. Isn't that great? So we're going to have fun marketing that because I guarantee you I know a lot more about SEO and marketing than the DPO does.
Yeah. Melissa's laughing because closed captioning capitalized bake.
Yes.
Yes.
Ready, set, bake. And I blew through the entire 6th season of the Great British Bake Show in 2 days with Lori. So yeah,
Okay.
it's out,
No,
guys.
yeah. I'm on season 4 still.
Yeah.
I think.
It's a great show. Even
I
when
made
they
a
change
really
up fruits.
great pumpkin cobbler for Thanksgiving. It was
Yummy.
delicious.
Yummy.
And I perfected a recipe for candied walnuts that's to die for. And now I have got all these candied walnuts, like little fat bombs.
Yummy.
So please, people, if you want some, I will send you some.
Great. Kittens Mittens, please come on by. 34960 Oakville Road, Southwest, Albany, Oregon, 97321. Yeah, come on by. Just let me know.
By the way,
time. What's up, Amos?
I don't know if you guys have noticed. There's a new podcast actually by Rachel Meadows, since you mentioned her, and it's a really good thing if you want to be want to be pissed, and also it's an interesting thing because she's covering a historical case about I don't know if you remember. Spiro Agnew was the vice president for Richard Nixon.
Yeah,
there's not been a lot of. Most people don't know the true story, the full story. And it's a fascinating one. And he was really a Trump before Trump was Trump.
Oh,
and
yeah.
To follow through this story and how he got scot-free out of it is just incredible.
Wow.
It's worth a listen.
All right. Cool. Drop a link. It's but you know, we're always
called The Bagman. The Bagman Podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, Peter Douche gives Maddow. She's the official spokesperson for Russia, and Russia.
She definitely is.
If you want to know about Russia, Maddow will tell you.
The sad thing is Rachel Maddow used to be.
She used to be cool.
She used to be an actual progressive and a journalist with integrity until she saw the dollars.
Yeah. Until February of 2016 when they flipped the switch on the back of her neck.
Yep, and we watched it happen.
We did.
What the fuck? She was doing okay, and then all of a sudden it was blam and Bernie shit.
Yeah.
You know? And it was
like Bernie. It was like, no, too bad. Bernie just can't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we all know what she knows, and it's just too bad. It's like, I really like him. Too bad he can't win.
Yeah. It's the narrative. All right. This is the second piece. I got to cover this. I'm going to do it as fast as possible, and then we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
All right. But this is important. This is about the reality of working with and compromising with these corporate Dems. And I'm going to say this to AOC, right? Because we've seen this battle with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Nancy Pelosi and you know, who's going to be speaker, and we don't like Nancy. I don't like Nancy. Forget anything else, just the fact that she's a corporate Dem and she's taken more than $250,000 in 2018 alone from the healthcare industry. That gives me enough reason to not like Nancy. Okay? But whatever, nobody, you know, the progressives that were going to run against her dropped, and then we didn't have any support for anybody else, and so we're stuck with Nancy fucking Pelosi. Whatever. All right. AOC is going to try to push her, and we'll see what happens. I just want to show everybody the trail, though, of reality, because it's not. Anytime these people make a statement like, "Oh, big words this, big words that," you got to look at their history and remember where they come from. So this is Pete DeFazio on November 20th. Now, the history of Pete DeFazio on AOC, and the reason I'm bringing up Pete is because he's local to Oregon. And Pete says he's a great Democrat. And if you look at Pete's record, he's an okay Democrat. He really, pretty good. And it's hard not to be a decent Democrat today because you're voting against a bunch of horrific legislation written by the Trump administration. All right. However, Pete's never had a problem agreeing for the military budget, no matter what the fuck it is. He's a solid military budget voter. All right. And anything that's going to deal with infrastructure and transportation, he's going to vote for it because Pete is the ranking member of the Transportation Committee of the United States government. Okay, he's not the chair. The chair's been some other Republican dude for a long time, but Pete's been a member and a ranking member for 4 years or more. All right. When AOC first pushed her Green New Deal, Pete put out a statement along with a bunch of other Dems saying, well, we certainly need to do climate, but we certainly have to have some believable goals, realistic goals. I don't know how we're going to get the transportation industry off fossil fuels. That's transportation industry. So then all that shit went down and we had our thing, and the Dems are all now jumping on this commission, right? Nancy Pelosi's like, we'll create a commission is great. Let's have a commission. Commissions and committees are great for these people because they can just bury it. And it'll sit in fucking committee. And this is the other thing. Committees have no power. So this committee can recommend shit and talk all day, but it can't actually create legislation. It can't enforce any rules. It's just going to sit there and discuss this stuff for however long we need to think that they're appeasing us, and then nothing will come of it. Right? That's basically what this does. We had a climate commission before that did nothing. So all these Dems are like, here, this is Pete's new reformed statement. I have long believed and emphatically stated that climate change is an essential threat to the planet. We need a bold, dramatic change in policy to address the growing threats. A decade ago, I was one of the first sponsors of a mandatory cap on emissions and a carbon tax. I bet it didn't include the fucking transportation industry. I was an original member of the first climate change caucus in the House. What did you accomplish? But with climate deniers in the White House, the Senate, and the House, we need renewed energy. Did you have those 10 years ago? What about when Obama was in office? Did you guys have climate? Just curious. I support any committee that would implement bold new ideas. Committees can't implement any bold new ideas to address, they can suggest. To address the threat of climate change head on. I look forward to continuing work with my colleagues, on the agenda that includes a massive federal investment in new technologies, a radical reduction in greenhouse gases, and other bold measures. Thank you, Pete, for that lovely statement. Now let's take a look at your fucking record, okay? This is the BRIC Act 2017. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal because it was just a little thing that extended the deadline for a whole bunch of people in the brick business and construction and businesses that deal with bricks, right? It was a 60-day delay, 2 months delay in implementing some emissions control measures that they had to implement to meet climate regulations. What you need to look carefully at here is the vote. All right. The vote was very partisan. Majority GOP wanted this thing. They wanted to give people a 60-day break, and the majority of Democrats did not want to give corporations a 60-day break. But Pete DeFazio voted against party line. He gave them the break, and this passed the House. Because enough Dems, well, GOP had the majority anyway, but enough Dems were there to say yay. Pete was one of them. All right. Here's another one. This is the Common Sense Nutrition Disclosure Act. Now, this is going to affect agribusiness. It also affects labor, food processing and labor, because this affects the restaurant industry. Again, we have majority Dems voting nay, majority of GOP voting yay. Why? Because this loosened restrictions on labeling your food products. This made it easier for restaurants to not tell you what the fuck was in your food. It made it better for restaurants and other food processing entities to not have to disclose what the fuck they put in your food. All right? Pretty easy one for Democrats to vote yay on. Again, Pete voted with the Republican Party on this one. All right. Why is that? Why is that? It's because Pete DeFazio takes a lot of money. This is just political action committees, and these are just the top political action committees: general contractors, home builders, special trade contractors, construction services, building materials and equipment. Bricks. Bricks, right? Bricks. 2 months of non-regulatory, of being allowed to wait for a big brick company is a lot of fucking money saved. Right? So there's Pete standing up for the environment there. It's just 2 months. We can let it fucking slide, right? We got 12 years. Right. Here's Rep. DeFazio's top sectors. So with the BRIC Act, and with the Food Disclosure Act, he has helped his labor donors, which is the number 2 sector here. Labor donated more than $200,000 as a sector to Pete DeFazio in 2018. And he helped his construction buddies, the number 3. They donated $133,000. What has he done for transportation yet? They're the number 1. Delta Airlines is Pete DeFazio's number 1 donor. Right? Berkshire Hathaway, big chunk of money into Pete. Berkshire deals with fossil fuels energy. Delta Airlines flies on fossil fuels jet fucking fuel. Do you really think Pete DeFazio is going to sign on to bold climate reform that includes your fucking airline transportation industry friends need to be flying on something besides fossil fuels in 10 years? I don't. I don't believe Pete for shit, because Pete's been a ranking member of the transportation industry and supposedly understands what's going on with climate. So why hasn't Pete led the charge in the transportation industry to convert all of these fucking transportation industries to green energy? Where you been, Pete? Because it looks to me like your votes go to help the people that donate to you the most. Transportation is at the top. How are you going to protect them? Just curious. This is DeFazio's listing on committee assignments, and you can just watch how he rises up the ranks from subcommittee. He's been on natural resources, fossil fuels, right? Transportation and infrastructure. He sponsors a lot of bills related to transportation and infrastructure. None of them happen to be green. Just saying. Here's Nancy Pelosi plans to push for revival of climate change committee in new Congress. That's the bullshit committee. Why is there a picture of Donald Trump there? Because this is CNN and that sells. I just wanted to show you that. Here's Nancy Pelosi and her top sector. So when we talk about Nancy Pelosi and Medicare for all and why she will never, ever, 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 ever sign on to Medicare for all ever until she dies, right? And then somebody will pick up her dead finger and sign on to it. Healthcare, $304,000 this year alone.
Yeah.
From the healthcare industry. That's not national nurses. Okay. There's
some pharma in there.
Yeah. Oh, here. Here's the ranking top contributors. Facebook, Salesforce, Amazon, American Hospital Association, Alphabet, which is Google, Boeing, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. Those are the top 7. Okay. So when Nancy talks about a commission, I believe her. But Nancy will never push forward the progressive reforms we're asking for, because Nancy is owned by companies that have a vested interest in making sure these reforms never fucking happen. Welcome to what corporate Dems are.
She'll rendone it.
She'll rendone it. I love that. Sad stuff, everybody.
Yeah. So my thought was, and I mentioned this earlier, for those who are criticizing Alexandria Ocasio for, and I don't think she is actually recommending Pelosi. I think she is saying, look, if this is as progressive as we can get this time, right now, then let's go with this, because we already know we can push her.
I almost agree with you. I almost believe you and agree with you, except I saw her statement, which was basically, I thought it was very carefully written to say, if you, kind of like the way Bernie used to do, like, that this is important and that this is important. So if you're going to be thinking about these things, then I'll support you. That type of language. I think she'd be great. I think she's recognized that 2018 is not the year that we take the Speaker of the House. That you gotta earn that, and not in the way that they're talking about like cronyism, but just tenure. Maybe I missed a tweet from her or a quote from her, because the last thing I saw was like a warm embrace of Nancy's amazing leadership. And I'm like,
well, she's playing the game. Like that's that. Oh yeah. And because Nancy responded, when pressured about the climate thing, that she welcomed this type of new energy and challenge. And so that's Ocasio's got to say, great, glad you appreciate us type of thing. She's playing the game.
You think?
And so I think we have to be careful not to, get too caught up in that, and that she's right there on the ground, and she hasn't even been sworn in yet. So I think that there's the freshmen in the House. We've got the House back. The freshmen in the House are going to be making some noise, and for the next 2 years. And I think that that's going to make a big difference in what happens in 2020 when people see what they're doing.
Do you agree, Amos?
I totally agree with Laura. I think we can't afford to be purists, because it's a tough environment for these people, and it's important to know what's in their heart and hold them onto it for the long term. But I think they gotta do sometimes what they gotta do to influence and get in there and change things. So I think it's a long game.
Interesting. I hope you're right. I hope they're playing the game. I hope that's what AOC's doing. I hope you're right. I just don't know that we have the time to play the games. I think that's what
Yeah,
bothers
exactly.
me.
We don't have a choice, unfortunately.
Well,
They're
we don't-
jumping
yeah.
right in. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're both right. We don't have a choice. Yeah. I got confused with the AOC thing on that too.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't even show you the other piece, guys, is that there was this group. This was real. This is insane. 9 Democrats vow to oppose Pelosi for Speaker unless House rule changes are adopted. And they make it sound like these rule changes are actually to benefit the party. They're like, it's really bizarre. But here's where this goes. So, I don't know who this person is, Manu Raju. It says 9 of 24 House Ds who are a part of a bipartisan group of the Problem Solvers Caucus say they can't support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker. Not that it fucking matters. She's got it anyway. Because she has yet to endorse their rules reforms. I don't know what the rules reforms are, but they make it sound like it's about inclusion and working together. And it's really about including the GOP more in this. And this Problem Solvers Caucus, we've talked about how the money just fucking goes round and round and round, and you can't imagine. It's like everybody's sharing money with everybody. It's a big fucking orgy. And this is from Ryan Grimm, like chief editor for the Intercept. And it says the Problem Solvers Caucus is funded by billionaires through a front group called No Labels. We've talked about No Labels PAC, right? Their super PAC spent millions to elect a handful of Democrats now trying to ally with Republicans and jam everything up. Kurt Schrader. No Labels is the #1 donor to our Oregon Democrat, Kurt Schrader. He's one of the Democrats that really isn't working for us at all. He's worse than a corporate Democrat. He's a Republican-crat. So, it's just such a fucking shit show. It's just a shit show. Which is why we're all here today. To laugh and smile and talk about the shit show and enjoy the time we have left. Thank you.
Front row seat. Why not?
Yeah. Thank you, Oz, passing on the hat for the great and informative program. I appreciate that, Oz, and the compliments. I didn't get a chance to engage a lot of your comments. Thank you all for being here. I have a great discussion going on in chat and a lot of people watching. It's 57 people. Holy cow.
Wow.
Let's look at that. We see. I was telling Amos earlier that he's kind of like a new Scott.
Yeah.
A little bit of a voice of reason, a little more balanced than you and I. You know, okay, me, and you know.
See, I'm originally a liberal. I do have a lot of liberal values, but I feel that at this point it's not enough to be a liberal. It's just not enough.
No.
So I think that's my angle of it.
Nice. I like that. I like that. Great. Paglosi, yeah. Pagolosi, yeah, because she's a Pago. Yeah, it's a nice call. We got a lot of old establishment people to get rid of. I say old in terms of having been there long, but, you know.
And old,
They
literally.
are old. They really are. You can call it
There's some
ageist.
decrepit ones in there. Like, get them out. That's done. Done, done, done.
Yeah, it absolutely true. It's true. I don't hold to the idea of, I believe in term limits. Let's put it that way. Right? I truly, we need fresh faces always, or else they lose touch with what's going on. Right? So we need it. We're almost out of here. Thank you guys for being here today. Tomorrow, Larry's doing a show, and it's an important show. This is Progressive Oregon, asserting your rights during reorganizations. Thank you, Environmental Coffee House, for $10.
Sandy, awesome. Thank you.
Doing. Larry will be talking with Betsy and guest Carrie Capon, who is also a full Jedi parliamentarian. And Larry and Carrie will be going over what you can do at your local reorganizations, how to make sure you don't lose power like we did in the DPO, right? And as I said, you start with a county, you identify your delegates, your chairs, your rules committee, and these are the soldiers, these are the core group that we need to work with to attack our state level party and make it decent. Right. So when Larry and Carrie talk tomorrow and give us these examples, I mean, they're basically going to give you a roadmap. Here's how you address this. Here's how you say no. Here's how you stop this shit from happening. Here's how you use the rules that govern our democracy to actually make some change. Right. our elected officials, as we've seen and as we've discussed today, they can't do this yet. Our newly elected people like AOC don't have the power or control. We have to continue to provide power at the bottom to eventually meet them at the top, you know? It's just pushing that rock uphill. Right, Amos? Uphill all the way.
Yep.
It really is. So join us tomorrow for that. Almost did have a good song to go out with that we could play. It was The Clash, I Fought the Law. But he's new, and he doesn't know how this works with me and my, complete control of the music. So we'll get used to it. We'll let him pick a song another time. It took Marcus a long time to get that privilege. So, And what are you guys? Paris is on fire? I'm just looking at comments here, and it's a human says Paris is on fire. Is it because of the protests on climate or something else going on? Because French people know how to riot when they're pissed. I'll give them that. I remember in 2015 when we just started, I was like, I wish America was as awake as fucking French people. Because when French people have any change, like a slight change in anything, they're like, rah! And they're out there and shit happens. Now, I'm not going to get into details with France because we learned a lot about Macron and he's like the male Hillary, but whatever. Hey, Al, thank you for your $10. Wow, we're just raking it in today. What was it? Was it Amos? Tell me what brings in the... No, just kidding. It's not important. Thank you, Schultz. See, this show kicks ass. Thank you, John, Laura, and Amos. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
You guys are rock.
It's my new haircut. Everybody's liking my new haircut.
Where's my freaking cursor?
There we go.
It is. Here, let's get everybody back on screen. So join us tomorrow for that. All right. Thank you all for being here today. Please share this. Right. If you're a member of the DPO and you were offended by anything I said, then that tells us where you stand. Mm-hmm. Just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, pretty much.
It really does. It tells us where you stand. No more nice. No more nice. So we're getting out of here with... you guys know that I'm a big Porcupine Tree fan, but Porcupine Tree really is the brainchild of Steven Wilson. And Steven Wilson is this nerdy guy who's been creating awesome, Rush/Pink Floyd kind of music. It's pop goth, if I were going to call it anything. It's prog pop goth. Anyway, I love Steve Wilson. Yeah, there you go. You're like, is that it? Prog pop goth?
Yeah.
He's got a new album. It came out in 2017, but I'm a little late here. And it's called To the Bone. And I'm just now listening to it, and it's amazing. If you're an audiophile, Steve Wilson is one of the most prolific recording artists, and everything that he touches in terms of the studio is just amazingly done. It's like Steely Dan, only even cooler, right? Because he's dealing with darker material. Thank you, Jilly Love. Anyway, the song, not to elaborate too much on Steve Wilson and my fandom, is Nowhere Now. He does a great job of weaving some very mysterious lyrics in here, but there's just one little passage in here that I took to really sum up humanity. And I heard it, I went, yeah, that's us. So we're just going to listen to this song, and you'll see it in the lyrics, and it's a good song. And Laura and Amos, I can't thank you enough for being willing to do this on a Saturday with us.
It's our pleasure.
Appreciate it.
It's my jam.
Yeah. Thank you guys. And for everything you continue to do in the revolution. Sometimes I forget to be humble and thankful, and everybody out there who's watching, who's donated, who's participated, who's helped us grow and continue to exist. Thank you. All right. And I hope you're safe. And I hope we see each other at the end of this in 12 years or so. Right. But for me, at least, we're kind of nowhere now. And that's this song.
Six feet underground, we move backwards now, at the speed of sound. We are nowhere now. Too much time to kill, too much wasted air, too much everything. There's no need to think. Here above stars, and I feel the rush of love.